Sup, everybody. Okay. Okay, sorry it took a little while here. I'm just Okay, today was quite the day, mostly because the power went out, okay? The power went out at my place, so unfortunately, or to some of you, fortunately, you're not going to be able to see my face. Camera's kind of weird, busted, glitched out, and the lights here are not working. So, I mean, it probably adds a little bit to the whole discussion theme of today, where there's no face here to distract you guys. So we can just focus all on the topic at hand. All right. So what are we talking about? We're talking about Nahida sales, player numbers, kind of putting all these numbers to some sort of context. And I know it's not going to be fully accurate because the numbers that are shown are not indicative of the entire player base, right? Like, so that's we're gonna have to see. Okay, we're gonna have to see, because personally I feel like it makes a lot of sense. How should I put it? It makes a lot of sense if we just extrapolate this data and apply it to some sort of guesstimation, if that makes any sense, right? We're just saying, like, okay, so theoretically, right, this should be like this because of this. What I'm basically pointing to is, if you saw my recent video, I used the CN iOS data to extrapolate the fact that Genshin, for some reason, is now reaching its peak popularity. Can we use banner sales for CN to somehow measure popularity for the game? Like, that's a question just in of itself, right? Is CN's success on banner sales indicative of how successful HoYoverse, like this product is, like Genshin Impact, right? So what do you guys think? That's something that I'm curious about from your perspective. Like, would you guys say, like, well, yeah, if Genshin makes money, then I would call it successive. If Genshin doesn't make money, then I will call it not successful. So what do you guys think? Okay. I'm looking at chat here. Money doesn't make success, the community does, right? That makes sense. Recon Gamer says exactly as you've said, Walrus. So some agree. CN-wise, of course, yes, more evidence needed for other regions. But has HoYoverse really treated us other regions as like here's a follow-up question though. Has HoYoverse treated the entire community of Genshin Impact as one whole, or has it always have they played favorites? Right? This is the other thing. And before I say anything, I want to hear the answer from you guys. So this is the thing, right? In HoYoverse's eyes, how important is everything? Like, how do we balance all this? How does all this stuff equate? Like, is there an equal signs somewhere in there, or is it just, you know, one-sided? Does Global feel like they have a voice? Right? Does JP feel like they? I know we probably don't have anybody from JP in here, but like, I'm just asking, maybe at this point for JP wise, I'm just asking a somewhat rhetorical question, right? Like, do we honestly feel like that we have a say in anything? Like, do we have any contributions? So then I circle back to my original question is like, then sales number wise, does sales outside of CN, like even if, like for example, let's say if Nahida in global is like the worst performing banner ever to date, which honestly I feel like it's not, but let's just assume that Nahida isn't topping the charts in global, right? Let's just assume that and work based off of that assumption, saying that okay, so Nahida isn't topping the charts in global, so what now? Right? Is that indicative of the game? Oh, Genshin is dying. How much of the global community really makes up the bulk of HoYoverse's revenue income? And remember, it's not like, oh, the entirety of global just got Thanos snapped into like non-existence. It's like, okay, Nahida banner isn't doing so well in global. Let's say it's dropped by 30%. I'm giving it more than what I think it actually is, because just for the sake of argument, right? It's dropped by 30%. Global, in terms of revenue, pulls in, I believe, the third. So it's CN, then it was JP, then it was global, then like there's more regions. So it's the third biggest region. So let's not sell ourselves short here by saying, well, we don't matter. Well, we kind of do, right? We kind of do. It's just that we don't matter as much as JP and CN, right? And I believe JP and CN probably makes up more than half of HoYoverse's entire entire revenue stream here. So, you know, it's probably fair to assume that HoYoverse is going to continue prioritizing these regions, and right, and we've seen it in the past where people from JP, like, do you guys know how insane Japan's work culture is as well? Like, no, just a question. I'm sure some of you guys have seen those videos, right? Like those documentaries of people just covering how insane of a work culture Japan is. It's absolutely nightmarish how, like, what these workers are being put through in Japan. Like, and it's absolutely normal. There's nobody stepping in to help. There's no one, like, you know, like remotely even interested in like solving this problem. Like, no, this is not just like, this is a problem. It's so if both of these regions, the players from both of these regions are like, oh yeah, you know, Genshin is great. You know, I love Genshin. I love it just the way it is. Right? Then is it me out here spewing BS, like puffing smoke up your ass, or is it the players who actually enjoy this game in those regions? I'm not asking you to enjoy the game, right? I'm not saying everybody enjoys the game. I'm saying players from CN, players from Japan, these major regions that are funding the game primarily, they have continuously said they enjoy the format of the game. And right, we keep saying money talks, money talks. Well, this is money talking. This is quite literally HoYoverse's piggy bank saying like, yes, daddy, more. And we are still oblivious to this. Like, people in the West are still oblivious. Like, I'm not saying you guys. I'm just saying if you go look at the comments, some of the comments, they are still oblivious. They're still rallying behind this notion of we need change. We want change. This isn't what we want. The game's gonna die if you don't give me what we want. But if you just sit back and replace the word we to I, then suddenly it makes a lot of sense, right? It's not what we want, it's what that person wants. It's not what the community needs, it's what that person in particular needs. And I understand that that person represents a group of people's philosophy in what a good game should look like. Does this make sense? Right? Does this make sense? I know they're not alone in thinking that, well, Genshin Impact needs more endgame, it needs more blah blah blah, and you guys see it, right? Like, when people talk about, oh, Nahida and how good she is and how versatile she is, one of the like most common messages you'll see people say is that, well, there's no endgame, so why bother? right? Like it's like a very low blow to people's interest in the game. Like, oh, there's no end game. Why should you care? Who cares? There's no end game. Like, I don't care. I don't know. There's no end game. I don't care at all. Like, these people are very quick to dismiss other people's how should I put this, fun, other people's enjoyment in doing something that's what's that thing called, non-progressive gameplay. Does that suit what we're talking about? Like non-progressive gameplay, being like you're kind of playing in circles, but like some people enjoy that, right? Some people enjoy that. So who am I really to say like, oh, that's not the right way to play the game? No way, bro. All right, so again, I turn to you guys. Right, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Right, is there a right way to play these games, or is there like a wrong way to play these games? Is there a good way, a fun way? Like what are we missing here? Like are these people right? Is it like like with no end game, none of this matters? Or are we both right to some degree? It's just that one is speaking from logic and the other one is speaking from, I don't know, like, I don't want to sound too corny, but just a general feel. So Tekken versus Mora, sales for Sumeru will be less than prior years. Overall character quality has deteriorated other than Archons. Yeah, I feel like Archons definitely is like boosting upwards while everything else has taken a seat back. But when it comes to Sumeru, we actually, like, you're right, we actually haven't received a standalone, solid, and strong character, right? In Inazuma, looking in hindsight, Kokomi, Ito, Ayaka, who else? Who else was released in Inazuma? I think Kujosara has been used a lot due to Raiden hyper carry teams. So like even some of the 4-stars you're starting to see, like they're playing very good roles far into the future. Kazuha, would you count that as Inazuma? I count that as a prior to Inazuma, but I guess if you're counting like Inazumarian Inazumarian characters, and Kazuha is definitely one of them. Apart from that, who else? Ayato is a very consistent one. So, and Liyue, I mean, Yelan was released in patch 2 point something, so I'm just gonna count her in the 2.0 something people. I guess by that metric, patch 1 point something had the best characters, but there's something that we are not taking into account, Techie, is that when it comes to characters, I think patch 1 point something and patch 2 point something are very similar. When I would even argue patch 1 point something was even better. Like from patch 1.0 to 1.7, no, 1.6 had the best characters in the game. They honestly had the best characters in the game, but sales don't back that up. Why is that? Because at that and I want to iterate that time period also had Genshin's peak player base. Right? Peak player base. So then the question really becomes like what happened, right? Like why was it not successful? Right? So like really, it's because of active players, not like people coming in for a bulk, like a huge portion of the initial hype for Genshin are just people coming in to check things out. They were never going to stay for the long term, right? Taiwan Williams says, I'm not gonna lie, the Genshin card game gameplay, oh, you guys already see it. Looks like it'll bring a lot of playability for people who enjoy that genre. Like this is the thing, right? That's what Hoyoverse is looking for. So HoYoverse is looking to diversify their contents and make one game that has like 4 games in it, so people would come to play this one game, so they don't have to develop those 4 games, right? We got the what's that game called where all the character goes like the one where you build stuff. They got that one, the one on the island. They got the one with the teapot, right? Animal Crossing, yeah. They got Animal Crossing in the teapot. They're getting the card game in. They're getting the card game in for just general card game gameplay. They got the open world solo player experience, kind of like Breath of the Wild, but like anime waifu version of it with high quality. They got the music, so they got that nailed. Like, who knows what they have in store for the future, right? Like, we might actually like. If they just develop a rogue-like endgame game mode where we can like endlessly experiment with compositions and challenges, that would definitely bring in another group, or like solidify another very, very popular and in-demand game mode for a lot of players. But I don't know, like maybe in China that kind of stuff is not that popular. Maybe it's just not that popular. And like, this is part of the topic that we're discussing right now is, you know, should HoYoverse prioritize us, the West? Like, should HoYoverse look at the West and be like, well, you know, the West doesn't really enjoy this, so maybe we should prioritize the West. But then, like I've always said, like, we have to speak with our wallets, right? Like, if you want HoYoverse to listen, you have to somehow overtake. Yes, you have to overtake CN and JP. To like, then people are like, oh, that's bullshit. Like, why do I have to, you know, do this and that for my voice to feel like it matters? Like, well, I mean, how else are we going to do it? How else is like what are other realistic ways? Like what, you're gonna write a formal letter to HoYoverse, like a heartfelt letter? Like, do you think that's going to get them to notice? To notice us, right? Like it's like you're a fan trying to speak to an artist from CN and they don't speak a word of English, and all you do is like you scream in English. Well, you gotta try to pick up some Chinese, right? You gotta try to pick up some Mandarin, so if you go to their concerts and then you go to a meet and greet, you at least have a chance to communicate with them. Right now we are screaming in a language that HoYoverse doesn't understand. They understand money. Money. HoYoverse speaks one language, okay? HoYoverse is not bilingual. They like, and I'm not even talking about Mandarin, whatever. Like, they don't speak Mandarin when it comes to business and finance. They speak money. They speak sales, okay? Yeah, money is HoYoverse's only language. So like, when we sit here and do these surveys, like, I used to think these surveys, you know, mean a lot for us. Like, remember, I used to encourage you guys, do surveys. I've stopped saying that because I realized surveys don't really matter the way we think it matters, okay? Surveys helps HoYoverse identify issues, sure, but it's not indicative of what they should be fixing, okay? Like, I like, sometimes I wonder, do these surveys even come back to benefit HoYoverse? I mean, do these surveys even come back to benefit Genshin, or do they serve to benefit future games HoYoverse are developing? Right? Like, we keep thinking about this from a Genshin perspective, but I think more often than not, HoYoverse is looking at these surveys and thinking, okay, so if, like, for these, for example, the Star Rails, Zenless Zone Zero, for these games they're currently developing, I think these surveys are helping those games far more than they are helping Genshin Impact. Like, at no point did HoYoverse ever say, well, we're running surveys so we can, you know, make Genshin a better game. No, that's not. I honestly stopped believing that to be the point of surveys. Surveys are helping HoYoverse to identify problems, identify player frustrations, and HoYoverse is leveraging that to some degree to, I guess, maybe at points optimize the game, but for the vast majority of the time, they're likely just taking that data and working with it on future projects. Tech the Virus says, who will play those games if they treat their main base as disposable? But we are not the main base, Techie. I once again iterate that we are not the main player base. The main player base for HoYoverse has never been treated as disposable. They've been treated like gods. The people who work 10-hour shifts every single day can come home, play 30 minutes of this game, don't feel burnt out, don't feel like they're forced to play the game like 2-3 hours a day. They are the main demographic. They are the people who are being put on a pedestal. All the contents in the game is being directed for them. They actually, like, this is why get like CN, JP, like the main players play the game, feel like, you know, like they can keep playing Genshin. They can't keep playing, you know, some of these other gacha games. It's just not possible. It's not sustainable for these people. They cannot devote 2 hours of their day playing. Like, a lot of these people have kids. Not only do they have work, they come home to their kids, right? It's just, it's hard, man. Like, it's hard for people like us, sitting, like, living in the West, to understand this lifestyle. Like, you don't understand it until you actually go at least see it, like visualize it, or even partake in that workforce. And I'm speaking from privilege because I've seen it firsthand. I can't really say I've worked it because I've never really been like prolongedly exposed to that work culture. I have at times, like maybe like 2-3 months at a time, worked with these people, but I've never once actually had to live their life, right? No. But I know what it's like. And I can only imagine how much worse it is for people, like some people in Japan, which is notorious for having even a worse working culture than even China. And I thought China was pretty bad already at how outrageous some of these employers are taking, like the exploits they have for their employees. PS Quake 2, like, that's a great way to put it. PS here, let me quote PS here for you guys. It says, it feels like for us gaming is a pastime, whereas for them gaming is something to pass the time. There's a difference. That is absolutely true. For them it's like a wind down, right? It's something to just get through the day, whereas for us it's something that's part of our day. Does that make sense? For a lot of these people in these countries, like, gaming is just like, okay, I've done my hard work for the day. I just need to fill in these last few hours with something, right? Like, it's, yeah, sure, it's important to them, but to them it's like, it's something to escape into, much similar to us, but it's just there to fill in the missing hours. Or they do it on the way to work or on the way home from work. Yeah, public transit is huge in China, huge in Japan. The amount of time you spend transiting to work every day is probably like 2 to 3 hours for some of these people. 2 to 3 hours, like, for a lot of these people, probably more than enough to maybe watch a movie, to catch up on some TV show, play some of their games, like their mobile games. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, bust out your PC? Jabba out. What are you gonna do? You're gonna bust out your PC on the subway? Is that is that what we are proposing here, right? A lot of people in the West also don't understand, like, why mobile games are even a thing, right? If you go ask Asmongold, these, like, old timers, these people who were here since like the early 2000s, who've been playing PC games like their whole life, they don't understand what's so good about mobile games. Almost all mobile games seems like a cash grab. They have like inferior graphics. They have like limiting difficulties. What's that word? Like the way you control your character is very limited because you only have like 2 fingers to use, at most maybe 4 fingers for some people who use their index finger to tap the top of the screen or to realign or like readjust the camera. They got some techniques going on there. you got 4 fingers at max, so like the games can't really be that complex. Then also due to the limitations of the phone, you just can't get too intense with these games. So like a lot of these old timers would look down upon Genshin, games like Genshin, being like, oh, like look at this game, it's so simplified, like I don't get why people like, is this what's popular now? But they really don't understand like who these kind of games are designed for. Come on, hey, what are you doing? No, get back to your bed. Sorry, went a little off script there. Baldwin Gold actually play a lot of Tower Fantasy. Yeah, like they don't get it, but it doesn't mean that they can't get sucked into this game. There are many student players in China too. Like yeah, China, it's the culture, right? Like it's what's deemed the best there is to offer right now for this genre. Like if somebody in China or in the world like are looking for an anime open world or anime MMO or anime gacha game, there's a good chance you're going to end up finding Genshin Impact. Even though Genshin Impact is not an MMO, even though Genshin Impact isn't a roguelike, even though Genshin Impact isn't a Breath of the Wild necessarily, it kind of ticks some of those boxes that people are looking for. Debaya Mendel is like, "Where's your face cam?" Well, I had a power outage today, and all the camera settings, the lights, it's all messed up. So yeah, for today, there's not gonna be any face cams. Tech the Virus says Walrus Genshin could have been much better, but Hoyo just too satisfied with their current position that needs to change to have game improve mechanically. Well, the thing is, this is the thing I'm really questioning, right? Like, is when we say Genshin could have been a lot better, you're saying it could have been a lot better of a game, right? You're not saying Genshin could have made a lot more money. Because I guarantee you, if Genshin designed their game the way that, like, we have been saying, they would have lost probably, like, good 40, maybe even 40 to 60% of the players wouldn't even be playing the game right now. I guarantee you that. There would definitely be a bit of a more hardcore community. The game likely would have, like, for example, guide videos would do even better. Stuff like that, right? Like people are going to be needing the guide, because then it goes from, oh, let's see what's a fun way, like what's a good way to play this character, to I need to know what's the best way to play this character. There's a difference between I'm watching out of curiosity and interested to experiment or to push my character, to I absolutely have to push my character. This character cannot, I can't beat this if I don't have this character min-maxed to a certain way, like invested with a certain weapon at level like 87 if I want this tactic to work, running this team with this specific rotation, or else I can't beat this content as like a low spender or free to play player. Like if that's the, because we can't say we're going to take a bit of the hardcore stuff but we're going to leave all the rest. It's either one side or the other when it comes to this stuff, because you're already driving away a lot of your casual and free, like, players who don't want to play like that. You're driving them away. So you can't half-ass the hardcore stuff either, right? If you're going to do this, you got to do it all the way, because that becomes your target demographic. Does that make sense? You can't be like, okay, I'm gonna not focus on casuals, but instead I'm gonna focus a bit more to the hardcores, but I'm not gonna go all the way. Listen, the second you abandon the casuals will quit the game faster than you can say, oh my god. It's just like, the second they like, oh, I gotta look at guides, I'm gone. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I don't want to look at guides. Like, oh, I can't beat the game because now they made the game too hard, I'm gone. I don't care. Like, these players will quit so damn quick. That's why they're called casuals. That's why they're casuals. Right? Why we call the hardcores is because they will still stick around even if you make the game casual. They will find a way to hardcore the game for themselves. But casuals can't casualify the game if they want. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, hardcores can run Spiral Abyss speed runs with one character. They can put those limitations on themselves, right? 1 or 2 characters, they can put that and they can do speed runs. But for casuals, if you make the baseline of the game too difficult, there's no way for them to dumb it back down. They can't like simplify it, right? There's no feature in the game to like, oh, like I can reduce the enemy's health by 50% and still get the same rewards. That feature just doesn't exist. So, right, by that definition, we can't really make the game more demanding. Well, we can, but it's going to come at a cost. And the other thing that you mentioned is that, well, HoYoverse is getting too comfortable. Well, they're kind of making like, what, $2 billion a year. I mean, they put in 200 million and they're making back $2 billion. Hey, like, I'm not trying to sound unreasonable. I'm not trying to sound like, you know, like a HoYoverse sheep. But if I'm making 10 times my returns, I think that's enough. Like, honestly, what is that rule in investing? Like, if you double your money, you should sell off half or something to recoup your initial investments and then just ride it out from there. Right? It's just like HoYoverse is making 10 times their investment value. Like, who are we to really say they can't just chill and take it easy? They have, like, what are the numbers that I checked here? Last time I checked, it's like these numbers don't even sound remotely like they. So the last 30-day all-time peak players is 8.5 million. Compared to October is 8.4 million. Before that is 8.4 million. Before that is 8.4 million. 8.3 million before that. 8.3 million before that. Last 30 days average monthly players, just like not peak, okay, active, once again, active monthly players is 63.8 million players. Yeah, let me read that out for you guys again. Genshin Impact's monthly players, like all players, not just peak time players, all active players, is 63,895,044 players. Okay? Compared to the month before that, so we were 63.8. The month before that, which is October, was 63.6. The month before that was 63 million. The month before that was 63.3. And the month before that was 62.7. So the numbers are going up. Source? Actually, I'll just bring it on screen for you guys right here. I'll bring it on screen for you guys so you guys can... here. I see that. $3.8 all-time peak 8.5. So the last 30 days has been in history the biggest Genshin Impact has ever been in history, in its entire existence. It seems like maybe not the first 3 months, right? Maybe compared to the first 3 months, they had maybe 100 million plus, but like any meaningful patch, right? Like right now, it just continuously rides up. So compared to May, we're in 2022, right? So compared to last year, which was 56 million, we're at 63 million. So compared to this time last year, we've actually gained quite a lot of players. 5 million to, no, more than that. What was it? 56 or 63? Wow, we gained 7 million players since this time last year. Applecat says, why does it feel like it's not as big right now as it was before, though? It's weird. It feels the opposite now than the data. Okay, Applecat, let me explain this for you a little bit. It's mainly because the social media platforms that we are exposed to in the West has not really favored Genshin that much anymore. And especially for you as a player, like when you first started the game, looking up guides, being a part of Reddit's, like figuring the game out is like a big part of a lot of Western players play philosophy for just games in general, not just Genshin. Like if you go play any new game, there's a good chance you're gonna at least check out a few videos, a few guides to make sure like you're on the right track, and then from there you can decide whether you want to continue following these people. I'm sure we've all seen like YouTube, like we've all watched YouTubers that we don't watch anymore because at the time we were playing a game that we just got into and we needed some help to get started. And then we found these YouTubers who were covering the game, and then we were on Reddit for a little bit. And now, since we don't really play the game anymore, we don't really interact with that YouTuber nor the Reddit community anymore. It's a similar case with Genshin Impact. It's just Genshin Impact had a much longer shelf life, right? So, like, the reason you likely don't feel the game is as big anymore is because all the content creators are like on repeat. They're stuck in a loop. So likely you don't find it as interesting watching, the same stuff, or you've got a good enough grasp of the game to start figuring things out for yourself. So you unintentionally isolate yourself from the rest of the community. And remember, Genshin doesn't have any multiplayer features. I mean, it does, but I wouldn't really call that multiplayer. It feels honestly like a Nintendo, what do you call that? Like two-player connection game mode. Kind of like Pokemon, where you used to have to connect your devices through a wire, and then you can interact with the other person that way. It doesn't feel like multiplayer is what I'm trying to say. So due to our own isolation of us becoming more competent players in the game, we stop needing guides every single patch, or only need guides for very specific characters, maybe for Nahida, but all the other characters you've built yourself. So you can't help but start to feel a little more isolated. The game is not as hot or popular as it used to be. But that is by no means due to the game dying or becoming irrelevant. It's simply because the bulk of the player base has matured to a point where we don't rely on Genshin content to help us play the game. Well, naturally, some of the players would gravitate towards lore, some would gravitate towards meme, some would gravitate towards discussions like what I do right now. You guys know, nobody really is here to ask me how to play the game, right? Like, honestly, since we started this live stream, at what point have I ever really tried to tell you guys how to build characters or like meta or whatever the fuck? No, that's not what my content really is based on. I don't find that enjoyable. I used to when I first started the game. Trying to beat the game was a huge goal of mine, beating the abyss. So that's why I catered my content around it, because that's what I was focused on at the time. I did a lot of research. I tried my best to be optimal and stuff like that. That's also the era where the Chi battery meme started, right? So but anyways, that was just that era of my content, because that's what I was focused on. It's exactly the same for you guys. If you guys made a YouTube channel, each and every one of you, and you focused on what you were interested in doing at the time, you'll see how your content would evolve and change. But for the vast majority of the content creators here on YouTube, they can't evolve and change their content because they make money off of it. That's like their livelihood. They cannot they cannot alter and take risks, much like Hoyoverse. Have you guys realized that? If you rely on this bag to survive, you can't make risky moves. You can't make changes. It's very difficult to, at the very least. It's very difficult to take something that is working. For example, Ziox, right? We all know Ziox, the guy who makes, who literally leads the Genshin player salvation when it comes to min-maxing their characters, right? Why should Ziox? How come nobody ever goes to Ziox and say hey man, why don't you try changing up your formula here? Why don't you try doing it another way? Why don't you try making some lore videos? Why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? Well, right? And why hasn't he? Why hasn't Ziox moved on from doing that stuff, right? I don't think we need to spell it out. it's more of a rhetorical question, right? It's basically because like don't change what's working. Like it's so stupid if we like I listen. I'm not calling you guys stupid. I'm just saying if you have something that is working phenomenally, like super successful, don't change it. Like just don't do anything that would mess up the flow that you have right now, right? Technovirus, as well as they're not taking risks, they are releasing subpar units in Sumeru, which is just lazy. But there have been subpar units in all the regions, like comparatively to the other characters that have been released in the patch 1 point something. You know, characters like Albedo, comparatively, are more underwhelming to characters like Ganyu and Hu Tao. I would even argue, okay, maybe not that character. I don't know how people would feel if I said that. But when it comes, like, I mean, if we just base it off of general usefulness and relevancy, like a lot of the characters in Inazuma times, I'm including 4 stars, by the way. I'm including 4 stars. A lot of those characters, until this day, people are still pretty copium about. Like 4 stars like Jin Yan, 4 stars like Toma. Like these 4 stars are, by no means meta defining or relevant. 5 stars, I named a couple from the 1.0 patch, the 2.0 patch. Let's see, a lot of people would say Yoimiya is still not that good. A lot of people would say Yaimiko was pretty subpar, unless people want to argue, Yaimiko is somehow broken on release, right? Whereas Ganyu, Hu Tao, Ayaka compared to Sino, who is their poster child, but look at Yaimiko. Are we going to ignore Yaimiko? Are we going to ignore what they've been doing to Zhao this whole time, who is also their poster child, who was released back in an era where Ganyu and Hu Tao were around as well? Like Zhao compared to Hu Tao and Ganyu is subpar. Look at his constellation, look at his vertical scaling. Like people keep copiuming saying oh, his C6 is broken. Zhao C6, Zhao C6. But Zhao C6 literally doesn't work for 40% of the content that you're in. It that constellation just turns off and doesn't exist the second there's there's just one enemy. Isui says, I really wish they would take a page out of CRK, Cookie Run Kingdom candies, and add something to fix old characters. Yeah, Cookie Run Kingdom did a great thing with the vampire, the yam cookie, and all that stuff. Yeah, you didn't expect me to go off of that, did you now? You didn't think I know that shit. Well, guess what? I play other games. So this is, I mean, you know what? I'm not going to even go into detail about Cookie Run Kingdom because I'm sure nobody even knows what the fuck I'm talking about. Yam cookie. But anyways, Austin Tai is asking, how do Cookie Run candy? Okay, so how do you get them? You can craft them. You can make them. Because in Cookie Run Kingdom, it's like a resource generation game, right? Like you generate a bunch of these resources, like raw resources, and then you use those resources. You can bake stuff. You can do stuff. You can upgrade your buildings and stuff, which it just gets you more stuff. So it's like, okay. And the cookies, I mean, the candies basically is like evolving characters, taking them to the next level. Right, old characters. So think Chi-Chi, think Diluc, Mona, Keqing. I mean, Keqing really doesn't need an evolution format this far. And holy crap, if she evolves, that's gonna break the game. So think characters like Chi-Chi, think characters like Jin Yan, think characters like some 5 stars, like Albedo getting an evolution form, right? So stuff like that. Toma, Amber, yeah, stuff like that. Imagine if they had some sort of pseudo constellation or something like that, which you have to farm for, grind for, or something. But like, I don't really see it happening. It's just not how Hoyoverse. It's just not how Hoyoverse likes to do things. They much rather sell you guys something new as opposed to keep with the old, which really sucks if you think about it. Like, basically, it's saying like if in Genshin Impact, if you suck, prepare to suck for a while. That makes sense. Like if you suck in Genshin, prepare yourself to suck for quite a while. Because I mean, it's not like characters that suck haven't really gotten glow ups, right? For example, characters such as what's their name? What's their name? What's their name? My goodness, I just drew a blank. Kokomi. Characters such as Kokomi, which were not well received by any means on release, have had great glow ups. You know, into like 3-4 patches down from when she was released. Artifacts coming out, better team synergies, or just people figuring it out on their own, because a character with like a negative 100% crit rate isn't necessarily something that something that we're familiar with, right? So with that all said, then yeah, then it's, I mean, Yaimiko to some degree has gotten a bit better, right, with their artifacts now being available, with better team compositions. But you can't really say she's caught up to the likes of Ganyu and Hu Tao. Its characters pretty much are solidified in what they're capable of from the moment they are introduced to the game. Right? It's not like suddenly you're gonna be like, oh my god, my Jinyan is better than my Bennett after 5 years of playing the game. It's never gonna happen. Marcus Ball says, to this day, some people don't know Coco has a negative 100%. That is sad. That is sad. That is sad to hear. Princess Peach is okay. No one is as good as Ganyu or Hutel besides like Ayaka or C2 Raiden. Like yeah, like that. But like you see, that's the thing we've been talking about for the past 30 minutes here, is that like how come newer characters aren't as good? How come they're not releasing characters like Hutel or Ganyu? Right? That's the question. That's the question like some people have. Like why are characters feeling like they're being used as benchmarks to the likes of what's her name? The likes of Jinyan as opposed to Ganyu or Bennett or stuff like that, right? It's ah. I every time I want to say something, I just feel like people are gonna get really upset, and maybe I just gotta be okay with that, because for the sake of the discussion here, we need to push this conversation forwards, right? Because here's another thing I need to ask you guys. Do you guys think the game would be better or worse for everybody if characters like Ganyu and Hu Tao were like the baseline? Like every single character coming out is like Ganyu and Hu Tao. Or for supports they're like Kazuha, right? Like do you think that's good? That's going to make the game better? Or like do you think players are going to enjoy the game more? Like they are the benchmark. No character would be much too far off DPS wise from Hu Tao and Ganyu. No support is going to be much worse than Kazuha. Okay, so you see, like after reading some of the comments here, the two sides basically, here's one side of it. It's like, yes, you know, it's not like power really matters in this game anyways, right? Like it's not like suddenly having more powerful characters, the game is gonna get too easy, and Hoyoverse is gonna have any problems. Looking at this, it makes sense. What you're saying is that it's not like the game people can't beat the game anyways. It's not like the game is difficult to a point where you would somehow lose value in older powerful characters. You just have more powerful characters to use. And then the other side of the argument is like, no, because then characters themselves would feel less special, right? Because they're because everything is equal and fair, everything is like calculated to the dot. You start to feel like that no character really has anything unique to themselves, right? You start feel like Hu Tao is not that special, like Ganyu is not that special. So this is like the two side of the argument, right? There won't be a need to spend money, right? I mean, regardless of what we say, it's a terrible thing for Hoyoverse to do, okay? It's a terrible thing for Hoyoverse to do because they eradicate the need for you to guess and play the game of like, oh my god, am I missing out? They basically, by doing that, they will erase FOMO from the game, right? So we're basically asking Hoyoverse to give up like billions of dollars for us. Like, come on, man. Why would you not give up billions of dollars for your players? Like, hey, Hoyoverse, ever thought about just not making money? Ever have you ever just Hoyoverse, have you ever just thought about like paying us to play your game? So we're not gonna really talk about this from the perspective of Hoyoverse because it's a terrible deal for Hoyoverse to do this. But just for the players, right? I think definitely you're gonna have, how should I put this? You're not gonna play the game as long. You're gonna quit the game much faster. You know why? Because you're gonna beat the game much faster. Every character is by the, like, everything is just gonna get one shot. Everything, like it doesn't matter how you play the game. Like right now, most things get one shot already. So, but imagine if everything was measured up to the quality and level and performance of Hu Tao Ganyu for DPS and for support like Kazuha. Right? It doesn't matter what element. Like it's just that level of performance. Everything's gonna die. It's gonna either put a demand for more difficult content, which then puts us back to square one. Well, then if you have more difficult content, people are going to complain. They're like, oh my god, it's too difficult. And then you would say, oh, like those are babies. Those are just baby players crying. Like, but who is to decide like what's like, what's a baby player, or what's like oh, I you can't beat the Spiral Abyss, with two characters min-maxing, like watching Ziox's guide videos, and like you're like, oh, if you don't watch Ziox's guide videos and Theory Crafter videos, you're a baby. Right? Because let's be honest, like how many people are really figuring out full meta teams by themselves? Like, let's not cap here, right? we're not here saying like, oh, but like really, how many people realistically are figuring out like theory crafting all this stuff by themselves? Probably not that many. Okay, so first and foremost, like we're making fun of other people for trying to play the game, by themselves, their own way. We're saying like, oh, you suck. Like oh, the game is so easy, you suck, right? Because you don't watch Ziox, because you don't watch Theory Crafter, therefore you're struggling with the game and you suck, right? So they should make the game more difficult. But like if you truly just play Genshin Impact by yourself and try to figure out the reaction system by yourself, all of this by yourself, and you don't watch guides, like, which some people's like, oh, but why? They're free. It's free to watch guides. Why would you not watch guide videos? Why would you not watch meta videos, right? But it's just how some people like to play the game. It's just like how I don't like to look at leaks. It's there. It helps you focus on the future. It helps you prepare. It helps with resource management. It helps with all this stuff. I don't watch it because I don't feel like it's that fun. Like once I watch it, I essentially already live in the next patch, right? Like, and then when the next patch comes, it's just not as exciting. And then I watch the next patch. Like you're always living one patch forward. Sure, it helps you with resource management, but like you're basically taking away half of the excitement from the new patch every month. Right, so which is not a problem for people who really need to resource manage, because the game is set up in a way where characters like Hu Tao and Ganyu are far and few in between, where if you miss out on a character like Hu Tao or Ganyu, you really feel like you missed out on something big, as opposed to if you're like you know, like, oh, I missed out on whatchamacallit, like, oh, I missed out on Ito. Oh, I missed out on Miko. Oh, I missed out on Toma. Don't feel as bad, do you? Right? So I understand. That's why people need to look into the future and start gauging characters, their performance, watching theory crafters, and whatnot. I get that, alright? That's completely fine. But in a world where all the characters is like Hu Tao, all the characters are like Ganyu, then nobody really cares anymore. Now, do they? Be like, oh, I can skip 5 characters and then pull the next broken ass character that comes out. So, which would then demand the game to be more difficult, because or else then everybody is just like pretty much one-shotting everything. Like at that point, people like it's gonna start hurting guide content creators. It's gonna start hurting theory crafters because they don't need to theory craft shit anymore. Everything is broken. Every character that comes out is gonna be good and consistent and broken, and the game is just like it's not like could it even be a game anymore at that point? So yeah, you know, I'm out here. I'm out here saying things. I'm out here saying things like this because I play a game in a very particular way, okay? And I truly believe that if you want to get the most out of Genshin, you need to figure out what HoYoverse is doing here, which is, you know, they're first and foremost catering to the casual players, catering to the players who are, I guess in a way, they're also exploiting them, okay? They're catering the content towards them, but they're also exploiting them. Because it's the casual players, the low spenders, who needs to look at the leaks, who needs to resource manage, but then you just fall into HoYoverse's trap of FOMO. They get you with the FOMO. You're constantly just like living in the future. You're constantly just trying to figure out what's the best way to play the game. You're trying to figure out like, oh, which character is the best? Like, oh, am I like missing out? Stuff like that. If you're constantly thinking about that, then you can't really be enjoying the game for what it truly has to offer. Or that's why I call all of us disposable. That is true. The people who are here on YouTube watching YouTube videos, you know, like, you know, watching Ziox, watching all these, like we're all disposable, because in HoYoverse's eyes, you know, the game was never made for us. I mean, it's great that if we spend money in the game, right? Spend hundreds of dollars in the game. That's great, amazing, cool, right? Like HoYoverse would be like applauding us, like, hey, you know, keep it up. These bills don't pay themselves, baby. It's just, if it gets to that point, like, what really is the point? Like, what are we doing here, people? Like, really? But didn't making strongboxes make it so people get better artifacts without resin refreshing? Yeah, but that's because the casuals weren't grinding artifacts. They were like done with that stuff. They're like, oh, I hate this. So it forced HoYoverse realized that there were less and less people interacting with the artifact domains. And also they also realized, well, they don't want to reduce resin refresh time or increase resin cap, because that's gonna make the game too that's going to make the game too easy to put on hold, right? Then you don't log on for as frequently, or you get too much freedom with your resin because they refresh faster, and that means you can do more stuff with it. Then you basically play through the game too quickly. So their solution to that is like, okay, people don't want to farm artifact domains, which is fine. But we have to incentivize somehow for them to farm artifact domains, right? We need to put incentive into farming artifacts. So why don't we make a box where you need to put in artifacts? Then suddenly it's like, okay, so you can't not farm artifacts. You can't get away from it. You have to farm artifacts, right? So you're kind of boned in that way because, well, now you have to farm artifacts, because if you don't farm artifacts, this feature doesn't even work. So even for the people who don't want to farm artifacts, you have to farm artifacts. But the catch is, even if you get crappy artifacts, we'll give you like a hit of adrenaline, not adrenaline, what's that? We'll get you a hit of dopamine so you can go gacha for artifacts. No, think about it. The artifact strongbox, it's literally an artifact gacha, but the token, the cost of gachaing that is artifacts. It's not resin. It's not, Genesis crystals. It's artifacts. You're gachaing for artifacts with artifacts. Like, just think about that for a second. How manipulative and how psychologically superior Hoyoverse is when it comes to this stuff. It's like they give you the artifact strongbox. They basically killed like 3 birds with 1 stone, right? They got the people who don't want to grind artifacts to grind artifacts. They got the casuals who don't want to farm for artifacts, farming for artifacts. They got the hardcores who were complaining there it's taking too long to farm for artifacts, to farm for more artifacts, to roll for artifacts, and then they run out of rolls, and then they go farm for more artifacts, which end up refreshing. And then sure, mathematically, this is going to help people get to the perfect artifact faster. But this also means people who likely would not have spent money refreshing for resin would now refresh for resin just for the sake of gachaing for more artifacts. Because they're like, oh, the next, like, I can do more gacha, right? Like, oh, I just need like more artifacts and I can go gacha more. Then maybe the next batch is going to give me something good. Like, it's quite literally the same thing as what they're doing for the characters. Like, oh, the next one. Oh, like, oh, I'm 30 pulls in. Maybe my 40th pull is gonna be a 5-star character. They just do this over and over to you. Are people really thinking like that though? Like, well, how many people in chat are using the art? Like, here's my question then. How many people in chat are actually using the artifact strongbox? I'm guessing a lot of you guys are using the artifact strongbox. It's one of the more popular features released to the game to date, right? So what are you using to put into the artifact strongboxes? Are you not using artifacts? Like, if you're using the artifact strongbox, you are grinding artifact domains, which already achieved Hoyoverse's purpose. As long as they can get more people grinding artifact domains, and guess what? Grinding artifact domains costs resin. So it's like they are forcefully getting you to burn down your resin. They don't want people to sit on max resin. They want people to constantly feel like they need to spend their resin. And as long as it gets you in that mindset, be like, okay, at the very worst, I can farm for some artifacts in the future so I can use it in the artifact strongbox, right? Like, as long as you're following this line of thought for Hoyoverse, then they've already got you exactly where they want. It's like, well, keep grinding, keep farming these artifacts, keep playing our game, keep logging in, right? The next set of artifacts you're getting in the strongbox might be the god set, right? You never know, so you just keep grinding. And even casuals now can be like, okay, yeah, just put in some hours put in some resin in the artifact domains, throw them in the artifact strongbox. Basically, you're doubling your, like, not doubling, but like you're getting an extra maybe like 50% of your value for your time grinding artifacts, because wasted artifacts are not wasted, right? I mean, if you really, really want to talk about efficiency, even the artifacts that you get back from the artifact strongbox can then be put back into the strongbox, no? So it's like, it's a pretty efficient way to farm artifacts, is what I'm saying. And Hoyoverse designed it in a way where casuals, hardcores, they can all benefit from this feature. It's a great feature. I'll be honest. It's one of the better features Hoyoverse has put out. 99% of gambling addicts quit before their big win. Yeah. And good for them. Good for them. It's the infinite Tsukuyomi of gacha. Yeah. They just put gacha in, like, you guys know that meme, right? Like, we heard you like gacha, so we put gacha in your gacha so you can gacha more gacha. It's quite literally that, but with artifacts. They did that for the artifacts. That's a lot of gacha. Yeah, but Hoyoverse knows like how powerful of a tool gachaing is, right? The thought of the next one could be the one, like that's such a dangerous way to think and to place your bets, right? Like, oh, the next one is it. Oh, if I just keep going, the next one for sure, I'm gonna get it. It's not good. I'm just saying. Like a lot of us would say like League of Legends is a shit game, right? Like oh, you play League, that's kind of cringe. But at least League of Legends, you aren't spending really like money to like coin flip your win. You know what I mean, okay? League is by no means like a great game, but on this front, like at least League is free, like truly free to play. A completely free to play player can be challenger in League without, I mean, what it does to their sanity, I don't know, but like at the very least, I know that you're not like you're not forced to spend money to get characters. You can get them all free to play. Yeah, at least it's not like a gamble. I mean, sure, getting teammates may be a gamble, but for really good players, it really doesn't matter what teammates you get. Right? We can like shit talk MOBA games because like we need to play with teammates. A lot of the times, like our frustrations with those games are like from getting bad teammates, which feels like you're out of control. Like the game is out of your control, right? We don't need to get to the mindset of that. But even that is better. That is far better than the tactics gacha companies use on their players to get them to spend money. I remember watching what was it? Like watching people talk about game designers designing like you guys see these red buttons. Game designers design these like red buttons to get you to click on them to get you to interact with certain menus. For example, coming here, like for example, if the shop is glowing, get you to get into the shop, get you to interact with the stuff, get you to see the sales numbers, like or like what's on sale. So eventually they're going to get you to buy something, right? Like their whole point is to lead you in a way where you end up buying something. Like it's so many of these hidden business tactics that they use to get you to spend some money on their game. It's quite disgusting, right? At the very least, when I play a MOBA game, sure, I have to deal with bad teammates, but I don't have to deal with any of this stuff. So yeah, like point is, no game is perfect. Just realize that when you're playing Genshin Impact, even if you're not spending money, you are falling victim to a lot of these tactics. It's very rare for a player to not spend money, not fall victim to these tactics, and even then, as a single digit number, as just one player of the game, you are still helping Hoyoverse out. But I mean, to be honest, if you don't spend a dime in this game and you don't fall victim to any of their like tactics, you're honestly winning, because the trade-off here really is you get a beautiful game, right, with music, with these characters. Like if you get lucky here and there, you can still get these characters. Like at the end of the day, you're really winning because you're getting like all this for free, right? Why is my 2 key not working? Okay, it was just lag. But unfortunately, not all of us are that strong and brave. Not all of us can resist the temptations and the urges and stuff. So what ends up happening is we fall victim to Hoyoverse's ploy. And we end up paying the bills. Come on, man. You really gonna go up in the sky like that? But I'm playing Kaching! Oh, nice. Got 3 of them. So if you guys don't know, I'm currently farming for my Nilu. Just want to get as many of these things done as possible. And then let's collect the materials, get her up to level. So I have 25 of them now. Need to get more of this stuff and this stuff. But yeah, working on some of my other characters to play with Nahida. yeah, that if people didn't get Nahida, like I'm not gonna say you're not going to enjoy Sumeru, but I'm just saying like going forward, there's gonna be a lot of characters that would be a lot more fun, like air quote fun, because who am I to decide what is fun for you? But it's just a lot of these characters likely in the future release gonna synergize decently well with Nahida. And you won't be able to unlock their full potential, which to me that's like very unfortunate. If I'm playing the game and there's a character that comes out that likely will link with like 4, 5, 6 different characters potentially coming in the future, I would want to have this character. I feel bad for the players who are gonna join this game like 2, 3 patches from now, when Nahida is already gone and probably won't be back for another like 4 or 5 months. They're gonna have a very subpar experience, even in the Dendro category, especially if they don't have Keqing. Like, even if they do have Keqing without Nahida, Keqing isn't really gonna be at her peak potential at that time. You can play with the Dendro MC, but that just pales in comparison to what Nahida can unlock for Keqing, right? So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about when it comes to patch 3.2, Nahida, the current state of things and whatnot. Sales number wise, Nahida top in the charts. Good to see that. Whether Sumeru is going to beat Inazuma in total sales, I don't know. Maybe it will. It really depends on the characters, right? And what the meta looks like, because players seemingly, especially in CN, they will spend on whatever characters can get them more clout, more relevancy. I guess. I don't know if it's the same in the West. Man, this will be a great spot for hide and seek. Can anybody even see me if I'm hiding up here as Nahida? Look, I'm invisible. Anyways, let's talk about 3.3, okay? Because I think 3.3 is going to be important, because now that the Archon quest kind of has come to an end, right? So what's going to happen from there? Are we going to get a new sub-region? Likely there should be a new artifact domain, because there's always an artifact domain every 2 or 3 patches. Always. So 3.3 is going to be something that I look forward to. Some people would say like 3.3 is going to be the start of the air quote slow patches, because 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, 3.6, usually the last 2 to 3 patches of before a new region drops, it's pretty dry. There's very little to do. For the most part, we're just saving up. For the most part, we're just making sure that once those patches drop, we'll have enough to keep up with what the game demands of us. So, with that said, how many of you guys are excited for 3.3? So Hana Haida says, "Hey Warros, back on the stream after a really long time. What's up, man? Like, we're just talking about 3.3 right now. Feel free to chime in, because 3.2 seeming like like the excitement for 3.2 is really centered around Nahida, right? 3.3 likely is going to be the card game, but from there on out, it's just like, okay, what should we be looking towards? Alhaitham should be 3.4, but I don't think Alhaitham is going to be as game-changing as Nahida, so by that measurement, right, I think 3.4 is going to be worse than 3.2, because 3.2 had the Archon quest. What is 3.4 going to have? 3.2 had the Archon quest, had Nahida. 3.4 is definitely going to be a weaker patch by that metric, by that comparison. I had 3.4 has Husbando. True, but I don't think Husbandos can carry that hard. I really don't. 3.4 is the lantern rate? Is it? I think 3.5 is a lantern rate, no? Oh, maybe it is. Yeah, because this patch right now is going to go until December. Right? And then the next patch is going to be until when? So there's gonna be a new region. Okay, so that's cool. Like just seeing there's gonna be a new region coming out in Sumeru is definitely exciting. I think there's like that's gonna be the last one though, right? Like it's always been main region and then a sub region and then we move on and then like a couple dry patches, like 2-3 dry patches, and then we move on to the next. Right? Like that's been the pattern. I think Hytham is going to be the first Dendro DPS. What a wait, wait. What about that guy? What about the forest ranger? what about the forest ranger guy? The forest ranger is a 50-50 fail. Yikes! Ouch! My guy is just getting completely shat on, I guess. Apparently, Nahida makes Tignari very, very good. I don't doubt that for a second. I don't doubt it. Tignari is so much fun. I'm booting him right now. He puts in work. Yeah, I think Tignari was a good good introduction into the Dendro element. He wasn't too complicated like Nahida kind of is. But at the same time, he's not bad, he's not broken. He's like, I mean, he's not meta changing. He doesn't really offer much to the kit, but like I would say no, I don't want to say that. I almost said like he's kind of like Ayato, but for Dendro. But I don't think he's quite like Ayato. Maybe similar, but like not quite Ayato. Ayato is like this very consistent character, so you know, there's really nothing to pick at for Ayato. He's closer to Ganyu playstyle wise, but not efficiency. Like when we talk about like how good he is, I don't think he's quite like Ganyu when it comes to how good he feels to play. But yeah, I think Tignari is a pretty good character, and I'm sure he's gonna age decently well. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna age decently well. Rim Jim is asking, you saw leaks? No, I did not see the leaks. What happened to what happened now? You should check him out now real quick. Yeah, but mine is not my Tignari is not like very well built. What are people even running for him nowadays? I'd imagine he's in a like a Bloom team or Quick and Aggravate. Maybe a Quick and Aggravate team with Fischl, Kokomi. Let's just try my old team, Yaimiko. Where's Kokomi? Okay, there she is. Where is Yaimiko? Yaimiko. Something like this. I don't know. Good thing I have a lot of good bows. I was using, was it the Wanderers set for him? I was using probably Ganyu's Wanderers set. Oh, he has his own. Cool. This one was Ganyu's. This one's Tignari's. This one I have to borrow from Ganyu. Ganyu. Then I need a Dendro Cup. I remember I had one. Hold up. Like, it's one of the first artifacts I got. Yeah, this one. Look at this cup. Hey. Chat. Look at this cup. Juicy. And the last one is this one. Nice. I had that nice crit rate bow for him. So he's looking 65, 205. Oh, not bad. Not bad. Oh, don't look at that. Don't look at that. I repeat, don't look at that. I repeat, don't look at my 424. Oh my god, what is Yaimiko running? Of course, some random BS. Thrilling Tales. Does Thrilling Tales work here? You got fungi farming to do? Don't we all? Don't we all? That you never have enough fungi. You never have enough fungi. That is the hard truth. Should I just run Emblem for Yaimiko? I'm kind of lazy to find her other stuff. People just take Yelan's stuff and throw it on her for now. So this way I can always come back to her and yoink it back to Yelan. Oh, maybe not Yelan. Electro. What did I got here? And this is crit rate. Good enough. Maybe I'll switch this back to the Witsith. I mean, I don't know if this is a team people have been running for Tignari, but you know, I got. Look at this team though. Look at this team. Okay, Nahida, because of my C1. Don't look at this. Don't look at this. I haven't leveled this stuff up yet. Nahida, because of my C1, has level 1 Pyro, level 2 Electro, and level 2 Hydro because of this team, right? I have level 1 Pyro, level 2 Electro because of Yaimiko, and level 2 Hydro because of Kokomi. So this is a pretty stacked team. Wonder how Tignari is going to perform. Double Geo with Albedo is better. We'll see, we'll see. Because Geo doesn't really give me the additional bonuses of all this stuff. Kaching's team is able to pretty much clear this in one rotation. Not one rotation, but like one skill. Let's see how how good this team is gonna be. 2, 3. Let's leave the mark. Drop this thing. Throw the E. Let's use the burst. Use Yai's burst. E, E, E. Go to Nahida. Use her burst. Drop the Kokomi thing, so when I use my charge attack, this... Ooh. Ooh. That felt good, didn't it? Did that look good, chat? Look at my under... Did you guys see my under-invested Tignari just casually hitting for like 21k? Like, boom, boom, boom. Felt good, yeah. It's because of Nahida's EM buff. Right? My Nahida is sitting at over 1k. Maybe it's easier if we go into the Abyss to see. Pretty good, yeah. Like remember, chat. Remember, my Tignari 424, Nahida 111. Actually, wait, can we farm that today? Is it this one? What? Was that the talent domain or was this the talent domain? I think this is the talent domain. I don't think it's today. I can switch Kokomi for Zhongli. Oh, you're right. That would be very, very broken. If I do this team would be very, very broken. When does Abyss reset? 6 days. I'm so bored of this Abyss, man. I mean, it's not like if they switch it, it's gonna be anything different. It's still gonna be the same mobs, but... Should I actually try to clear the Abyss? Nah, I think just seeing it for myself here, I would roughly know how it would perform for the rest of the chambers. Honestly, extra attack boost. Okay, marked. 1, 2, 3. Let's just use my burst and see how that works. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's drop this. Go into Nahida, use her burst. Maybe do another swipe. Boom. Are they still alive? Oh my god. Boom, boom, boom. Go to Zhongli, use his thing. Go to this. Does this still work? Yes. Yeah, Miko burst. E, Zhongli shield. Nahida burst. Into E. Into E by Tignari. And then auto. Oh, that thing transformed. That's okay. There's more E. It's definitely a little more chaotic. I mean, it's the first time I'm running this team. I don't even know what the hell's going on. I don't think he has Electro on him, does he? I mean, it's a ton of damage for sure. I feel like I might be messing up my rotations. What do you guys think, chat? I think I mean, I had Zhongli's uptime for 100%. Yaimiko probably looking like she needs a little more ER. Nahida seems fine. Tignari seems fine. I mean, if I invest a little more into them, maybe it'll be better. E, into burst, into E. I don't want to use Nahida's burst here. I think it's quite a waste. I think Tignari's burst should be fine here, right? Refresh Zhongli's pillar here with I want to just get this guy dead. Alright, Nahida, remark everybody. Right? Yaimiko can E, and E. Zhongli's burst into Nahida's burst, and then I switch back to Tignari. Use Tignari's burst, use Yaimiko's burst, and then refresh her E. Tignari. I think we should just go for Yaimiko, Tignari. No! It's very hard. Okay, listen, it's very, very hard for me to, like, pinpoint the samurais here. Oh, Nahida's thing is gone. It's so... Okay, the cool thing about Tignari is you don't have to aim. I honestly am not even trying to aim. It's just throw it out, and it's gonna hit something. Usually Nahida Q gives a lot of EM, so you want me to use Nahida's Q more, right? Like, just make sure it has, like, permanent uptime. So, E. So, I'm gonna do this, Nahida Q, into Yaimiko, a boom! Into Tignari. Nahida E. Nahida Q into my boy Tignari. I think I actually missed that. I somehow managed to miss a Tignari charge attack. I don't know how I do it, people. I really don't. I swear. I'm not trying to. It just happens. Smash the meteor on them. Drop the E. Can they both die together? Yes, they did. That's not bad. That's actually like a similar clear time to my Kaching team. A little slower than my Kaching team. But my Kaching is C5 and Tignari is like... My Kaching is C5, level 90 with talent level, I believe, like 888. So if I had Tignari at the same investment level, I'm pretty sure this team is going to clear faster. Which is cool. You know what? I think I should do this. I should start with... Wait. Because I lose my Witsith buff, right? When I do that. When I did that, I lose my Yaimiko Witsith buff. So I should do this into Zhongli. And then into Yaimiko. 1, 2, 3. And now I get my full Witsith buff. And my thing. And then I go into... Oh, no. But... whatever. I already have his burst back. Not bad. Man, Nahida's burst having like 100% uptime just feels so disgusting. I feel dirty. Oh, I didn't manage to kill him this time. Yeah, the damage is good, okay? Like, if you guys are waiting for my verdict, like, the damage is good. The fact that I'm playing this team, like, more than once is, like, it's showing that it's not only fun, but, like, it's a good team. Like, honestly, now I'm thinking about, like, hey, should I just max out my Tignari so I can play that team? He is better in the second half. Yeah, I would imagine this team doesn't really care. Like this particular team doesn't care if it's like grouped like multiple enemies or single enemies. I would imagine they perform really really well regardless. So like, in fact, probably single target is going to be better for him because all his things is like got aimbot. Level 9 him, you won't regret it. I'm sure. I'm eventually gonna do it. Right now, it's just and the thing is, Nilotpalalotis has really been screwing around with me when I've been trying to gather some of the other stuff. But like I keep saying, like fungi is just, bro. I swear, fungi is too prevalent in this region. Like everything and their grandma needs fungi in this region. They got too many characters needing fungi in this. Like Nahida's talents need it. I remember like was it Nahida's weapon needs it. Like why the hell would a weapon need fungi? Like what the fuck? Everything needs fungi. I swear, does Nilu need it? Oh no, that's her weapon. Yeah, like what the fuck? they all want it. This is not enough, bro. There's not enough. What's his name? Where's Sino? Okay, thank God. Sino, my lord and savior, doesn't need it, but he needs this, which is arguably 10 times worse. Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. His fucking weapon needs it. Please. Save me. Save me from fungi hell. Fungi. Oh, fungi. It's pronounced fungi. Okay, save me from this. It's like everyone wants it. It's like a drug in Sumeru at this point. It's just you can't get away from it. Does Kole need it too? I'd assume so. Oh, I'm not about to level her up to find out. But I'm guessing one of these character probably needs. What about Candace? What about Candace? Does Candace need this? Oh, did I not pull Candace? Oh no, there she is. Guessing she does. Yeah, Miko, what were you saying about her again? No, I was saying when she was first released, she's very subpar, right? Like, I mean, even now, Yamiko is not considered like one of the best characters in the game, but like she's good. She's much better now, especially with the arrival of Dendro, right? But it's just like it takes time for these characters to ramp up. But Hu Tao, Ganyu, Ayaka, these characters were great on release. They're still great. They're used in a lot of teams, and even nowadays, like Ganyu has a slight resurgence when it comes to popularity and usage due to her reverse melt team with Nahida's arrival. It's just, it's just, I don't like it when, like personally, I also don't like it when they release these characters and for the first 2-3 months they're not that useful. Like you would have to be very copium to say Yaimiko day one was like a very good character. I mean, what do you guys think? Walrus, play with Ito Mono Geo. It's hilarious. I played with that team. That team is just Unga Bunga. It's quite literally just Unga Bunga. Just like, it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger on meds. Like, just a lot of grunting and just smacking things around. I'm not gonna say it's fun or not. Like, I mean, it's for you to decide whether it's fun, but it's like that team, honestly, it's just like smack, 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 smack. Actually, I know a few people who actually really love Geo playstyle. Ito Mono Geo is fun. It's like Ito Mono Geo, if you have the right setup for it, it's pretty much like it allows you to stop thinking so much about everything. It just lets you like focus on whatever the hell you're doing, right? Focus on him. Everything is about him, his combo, his sequence, and all that stuff. The thing is, if you if you guys can't tell, I'm at the quite dilemma. I'm at the dilemma here to say, like, is it? I mean, yeah, like, I'll just say it. Like, if you want to play that team, it would be a good idea to hyper invest into Goro first. Ito C0 is fine, but if you want to play a full, nice, crazy ass Geo team, getting Goro to C6 is it's pretty important in unlocking that team's full potential, right? I'm not saying like it's necessary to play the team. It's not necessary, but it's very important to that you do that to unlock that team's full potential, which is the ceiling is very high for that team. I'm just gonna put that right. I'm just gonna put this right here. The ceiling for that team is very, very, very high. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if people have done the calculations, but I would want to say that C6, what's his name? C6, Ito has to be one of the better DPSs in the game at C6. Am I right or am I wrong? Fact check me, chat. Is C6 Ito not one of the best DPSs available in the game right now? I am right? Like, yeah, like C6 Ito is pretty broken. And with all the stat buffing from Geo, and also on top of that, Goro, if you have him at C6, it's just some of the damage. Like, I remember, like, I was seeing Ito clips of him doing like 130k crits per charge attack, and he's charge attacking for like 20 seconds straight. Like, what the fuck? It's just Ito stuff. Whoa, Jim, buddy. Holy smokes. Dudes out here speed running something. Jesus, dude. Relax. But anyways, yeah. C6 Ito is probably, I would say, top 3 DPS. I don't know. I don't know like his exact ranking when it comes to DPS, but I'm willing to say he has to be top 3. Like, I can't think of someone else in terms of C6 with just like raw damage output being like much better than Ito. I would say there's probably like off the top of my head, Yelan C6 might be right now, like just a little bit broken because she's like a one lady army. But because Ito needs so many buffs, right? He needs a resonance, he needs Goro to really scale up. So I think Yelan C6 wise probably has him beat just solo. But in an optimal team, in an optimal team, I would imagine Yelan can also scale up pretty well. Who other C6 can beat Ito? Damage wise, can Ayaka C6 beat him? Question mark, question mark. Ayaka C6, can Ayaka C6 contend with Ito C6? Who other C6 can one moment here. Ayato is a candidate. Ayaka could win with Shenhe. Yeah, Ayaka Shenhe, but like C6. I mean, it's a little unfair to include Shenhe. Like, what about without Shenhe? I think they gotta be pretty similar, like pretty close. But what about consistency, right? Like, what about uptime? DPS uptime. I think Ito would win. Would he? Because as long as Ayaka can get her burst off, like off cooldown, I think Ayaka and Ito pretty much are like very similar, very close. What about Ganyu C6? Has anybody checked that? How's Ganyu C6 looking? I feel like Ganyu C6 would have too much downtime to sustain that kind of DPS output. But then again, like, don't everything just die anyways? Right? So, I don't know. I think Ganyu C6 is a little weak compared to Ito C6. But, you know, that's just me. Yeah, Ganyu C6 is not consistent. That's exactly what I was saying, right? Like, it's just, yeah, the first 3 shots or something, like the first couple shots are gonna be good, but then like after that you're gonna struggle. But yeah, Ito has just really consistent damage output. I ran 12-3 with C6 Ayaka freeze with Shenhe. The boss was deleted in 5 seconds. I believe you. C6 is pretty good for her. Uptime, if they dead already, you don't need uptime. That's also the other thing, right? Like when we talk about uptime, is there even content in the game that can sustain C6 character damage uptime for like up to a minute? Probably not. Like so at the end of the day, we're just sitting here like speculating because we don't have anybody that can even tank those DPS characters for that long. Why do they even exist? You know why they exist, man. You know exactly why they exist. It's whale bait. It's whale bait, buddy. That's exactly why they exist. Yelan, we don't talk about Yelan. Yelan is a different breed of character. Yelan is a different, like, from now on in all tier lists, when it comes to like constellation value, Yelan should just be by herself. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. Maybe they put one too many zeros in her scaling or something like that. She shouldn't be that busted at C6, man. Like I get it, C6 is C6, but she shouldn't be that busted. No C6 beat Chi-Chi C6. Honestly, Chi-Chi C6 would be amazing if they reduced their cooldown by like a lot. I'm not saying just by a little. They need to reduce that revive cooldown by an astronomical amount. I would say 1 minute, 60 seconds max. Chi-Chi energy is just yeah, Chi-Chi best battery though, if you if you know what I mean. Yelan is busted at 0. Yeah, Yelan utility wise is already really good at C0, but like Yelan C6 just doesn't make sense. Like I don't even feel like I'm playing the same game anymore when I see her C6. Yeah, just remove the CD altogether. They're never gonna change it, chat. I know. We can have all the copium in the world. We can sit here and be like, but they should do it. They should care. They should make Old character's great. Yeah, you know, they should make me win 50-50 every time too, but I don't see them doing that. Unfortunate. Truly is such a shame. Such a shame. Damn it, man says, I can only imagine how busted the Pyro and Frost Archon is going to be. They just keep getting more and more busted, don't they? It just keeps ramping up forever until like by the time the Cryo Archon comes out, just like you walk into the abyss and everything just dies. Is my Bennett C6? Yes, my Bennett is C6. Bennett is indeed C6th, my friends. Just like I promised you guys. They see you walking in and off themselves in fear. Like, aren't some of the enemies in the Abyss Fatui agents? Does it even make sense if you're playing that? Like, I would assume that Tsaritsa is going to be the Cryo Archon or something like that, right? I'd assume that's the Tsaritsa, and then what would the Fatui agents do? Would they even still fight you? Would they like, right? Like, what if you run up in the wilderness as the Tsaritsa to some of these to these Fatui agents and they still try to fight you? Huh? Would they? Tecton overhyped that C6 Bennett drama. I think C6 Bennett isn't that bad, people. Like, honestly, people. I think the only argument that actually holds any water right now for not C6ing Bennett is for physical DPS, right? For physical DPS that gets released in the future, people are scared that Hoyoverse doesn't have the foresight of putting in the line where like their thing cannot be overridden. Kasino has it. I think Ayato has it. A lot of these newer elemental infusion characters have that line where they say their attacks cannot be overridden. So yeah. I think going forward, the only argument that holds any water is, oh, but what if a physical DPS comes out and then you have a C6 Bennett? A physical DPS, not like that, scales off of attack nonetheless. What if a physical DPS comes out that scales off of EM? Or a physical DPS that comes out that scales off of like some weird stat, like ER, HP, defense? You don't know that. So it has to be a physical DPS that scales off of attack, that doesn't have their own dedicated buffer or support. Then you can make, and also Hoyoverse also has to not put into their kit saying, oh, their thing cannot be overridden. Then we can make a case for saying like, oh, maybe Bennett C6 was a bad move here, right? But if one of those things exists, then Bennett C6 doesn't even matter, because then you wouldn't be using Bennett. I mean, that's just my 2 cents, but what do I know, right? What do I know? I have no idea what I'm talking about, dude. I'm just here farming views. Right? Imagine a unit scaling off of artifacts. Honestly, when you put it like that, what's her name again? Nahida. Her weapon straight up does feel like an artifact. Like, it just doesn't feel. It doesn't feel. How should I put it? It doesn't feel like. I mean, it definitely feels kind of like Elegy for the end. It gives off Elegy vibes for me. What about you guys? Like, do you feel like her weapon? I feel like Hoyoverse is trying a little too hard for these weapons to be unique. Like, they're just trying like a tad too hard. It's a stat stick. Like, it's something that just straight up buffs the. the character. Like it doesn't feel. I don't know. I prefer weapons like Staff of Homa more. Like they're equally, they're both stat sticks, but like Nahida's weapon also takes into account your teammates and like their element, right? And then depending on whether it's the same or not, and then it has different buffs like situational, and like it's just Hoyoverse, what gives, man? Don't get me wrong, I don't have any problems with it. No, sir, no. Not me. Couldn't be me. I don't have problems with it. I'm just saying. Say maybe maybe don't make things so damn complicated. My poor walrus brain cannot comprehend. And it's not only Nahida's weapon, there are now 2 or 3 new 4-star weapons in the past banners that give party-wide buffs that and can stack, like Nahida's weapon can. You know, like on the topic of that, I'm starting to feel like Hoyoverse, you know, is trying to. I mean, this might just end up as another conspiracy. Hoyoverse almost feels like to me it's trying to leverage the power from like characters kits to more like diversified stuff, forcing you to invest into a bunch of other stuff. I mean, hey, but what do I know? I'm just some random dude on the internet. What do I know? But yeah, it honestly feels to me like Hoyoverse wants you to, because to get those 4-star weapons, a lot of the times you have to play through the story mode or whatever, get their blueprints, and then go farm the materials. It just forces you to go interact with more of their game. So like, in a way, just to farm playtime. Hey, but you know that's getting a little too a little too. What's that thing you guys call it? A little too conspiracy. Just a tad, right? Just feels a little too conspiracy for us. Just a tad. But yeah, overall, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. Okay, like I'm not out here trying to start shit. Honestly, I find it great that we have disagreements, because like if everybody just, like I always say, if everybody always agrees with each other, there's no room for conversations. We're just out here stroking each other off, right? Like, I know that's probably going to get this whole thing demonetized, but whatever. I do enjoy it when we can have a conversation, we can have disagreements. I think you guys make very valid points, and yeah, I think Nahida is sitting at a good spot. Archon wise, she definitely outperformed like even Raiden at C0. It's not really about meta, it's about like how much she can give access to like fun and engaging gameplay, making characters like Tignari feel better, making characters like Kaching feel better, making characters like Sino, Nilu, making characters like, just off the top of my head, that's like 4. Like I'm sure she has like other team composites. Oh yeah, Ganyu as well. Like revitalizing older comps. Like you can't really put a price tag on that, because different people are gonna value that kind of enabling gameplay to have different values. Some people might not care. People who have C6 Ganyu already and they've been playing her for a year be like, I don't know, I don't give a shit about Ganyu being more meta. She's always been meta for me, right? Then they wouldn't care. But for somebody who's been investing into a lot of these other characters and they're sitting at C0 and they've been just feeling that, well, maybe I shouldn't have invested into all of them because it doesn't feel like I've been making good use out of them. Now suddenly a character like Nahida comes along, you're like, holy crap, I made the best decision of my life, right? I can play like 7 different teams now because of Nahida. Like, how can you put a price tag on that? So, but when it comes to relevancy and how much it's affected the game, I think Nahida really tops the charts, even comparatively to Zhongli, even though she might not be as useful when it comes to, you know, like, I mean, even then, like, if you want to say useful, maybe she is more useful than Zhongli. Like, Nahida might honestly be the best Archon released to date, even at C0, even without the weapon, right? So, when we talk about that, I do think, like, there's a lot of credit that needs to be given to the design team for HoYoverse for making Nahida do what she currently is able to do. But that's not to say, you know, characters like Sino, characters like... actually, you know, it's just Sino. I was thinking, like, Nilu is not bad, especially with Nahida out now. Like, she's not bad. Sino is the only character that feels really, really bad, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe HoYoverse has plans for Sino. Maybe Nahida was not the answer for Sino, right? So who knows? I'm just out here saying, like, you know, Denjo's looking good, Sumeru's looking good. Story wise, Sumeru has been crushing it. I think Sumeru's story is like the best there is. On top of that, the music has been very consistent and good. New game features coming out. I think Genshin is looking good if you just look at the numbers and stats. But if you survey the players, I'm sure they'll say otherwise. But I digress. Okay? I digress. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's going to be it for this stream. Saturday is going to be the Nahida giveaway. So I hope you guys are excited because I'm going to have to channel some voodoo magic to make sure that we win that 50-50. Bye, TC. I'm no TC, man. You know I'm not. I'm just... Oh, wait. If C stands for conspiracist, I might be a theory conspiracist. Maybe that's my role in the community. Or I might be... TC for me stands for the conspiracist. When is the giveaway? Friday or Saturday? It's going to be the Saturday live stream. So I'll be live again exactly the same time as you see right now. 7 to 9 p.m. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world. Back your clock by 2 hours. That's when I start the live stream. So just make sure to leave this slot of your day open. And yeah, I'll see you on Saturday. PS Week was a lot. Hanging out, everyone. Catch you all next time. Yeah, it's always fun. It's always fun. Thank you guys for tuning in. Wouldn't be this good without all of you guys here chiming in. All right. So thank you guys, and I'll see you on Saturday. Till then, stay safe. Peace, peace. Bye, bye.